CrystalFeatherMyths, read by CrystalFeather. Unwanted by UniqueSKD. The sky echoed with the booming roars of the thunderstorm as bright flashes of light illuminated the dark heavens of the night. The rain fell like tears of angels onto the world down below, their sorrows splashing on top of the homes and shelters of ponies, sleeping soundly in their warm, comfy beds, dreaming of pleasant things and wild fantasies. The streetlights provided the only source of light, besides the occasional flash of thunder, and the fall of rain was enough to keep any pony from venturing out into the night, lest they fell victim into the wet cold. From out of the shadows of a nearby alleyway, one pony, a mare dressed in hood and cloak, and bearing a basket of sorts upon their back, was not deterred by the weather conditions presented on this night of Luna's design. Pulling the hood tightly over her head, she darted from out of the narrow passage, immediately hit by the relentless fall of rain. The pony ran forth, a task forged and branded into their mind, with a hell-bent determination to accomplish its mission, regardless of the storm. The sounds of hooves clip-clopping against the old and worn cobblestone roads, and splashing through a few puddles, added to the other sounds being made to this night, though were drowned by the volume of the storm and the rainfall combined. Still onward did the mare press on, now and then looking back over her shoulder to check that her cargo, the basket upon her back, was still there, secured and safe from the rain. As the pony passed a street light, a sudden gust of wind extinguished the flame, and where there had been light, only darkness resided now, at least until the flash of lightning brightened the area and revealed the hooded pony running along. The mare, unnerved by the sounds and the weather, continued on her journey through the dimly lit street of the town, fighting through the rain, ignoring the booming and of the furious heavens. The rain at least began to calm down now as the mare left the confines of the lifeless town behind her, trudging along a well-worn road towards a large building in the distance. Even from here, the pony could see that life was still awake and alive at this time, evidenced by the lights through the windows. Coming to a stop nearby a rickety wooden sign, she turned her head to examine the writing, but could not see in the dark. Fortunately, a somewhat white flash of light from above illuminated the sign long enough for the pony to see writing clearly. Ponyville Orphanage, this way, the sign read. The mare sighed heavily. This was the place. The pony checked to see if the basket on its back was still secure. Confirming that it was, she carried along the road to the facility. A slight breeze blew, sending a slight shiver along the mare's spine. But quickly did she brush it off as she came towards the doorsteps of the orphanage. A little roof stretched out above the front oak doors, giving the mare some shelter from the rain as she climbed up the steps. Taking a quick look around to make sure no pony was watching, the mare knelt down on the ground and unfastened the straps securing the basket on her back, and tilted to the side to allow the basket to slide off as gently as she could. A light gray blanket covered the basket, something moving ever so slightly underneath. The mare pulled back the covers, revealing a little gray baby Pegasus filly with a small blonde mane, eyes closed as she slept and dreamed peacefully. The mare couldn't help but chuckle slightly at the sight, while wondering how in the wide world of Equestria some pony as young as her could sleep through rain and thunder so easily. The mare felt something wet running down her cheek, but brushed it off as a rain droplet, not wanting to believe it was a tear. Covering the baby filly up again, the mare brought a hoof underneath her cloak and pulled out a small scroll. Placing the scroll next to the basket and the sleeping filly in it, the mare took one final look around before leaning in close to the baby pony. In a quiet voice she whispered, "I'm sorry, my little muffin. Please find it in yourself to forgive me." Her voice was almost on the verge of breaking, and several drops of water stained the blanket. Quickly the mare raised the hoof and knocked as loudly as she could on the oak doors, her knocking elliptically a response. A few seconds later, as she heard some pony call out, I'm coming," from the other side. Quickly the mare turned around and raced down the steps and into the night, though spared a moment to glance over her shoulder one last time. The oak doors opened, and a plump green unicorn with a long cyan mane and bright turquoise eyes stepped out into the cold night air, looking round for a sign of a visitor, but only seeing the dark. Honestly, prank callers at this time of the night? The mare groaned. I swear, some ponies just... She stopped when she noticed the basket laid at her hooves, her eyes showing surprise, which turned to a look of shock when she noticed something moving underneath the covers. Pulling back the blanket, the mare gasped as her eyes fell upon the sleeping filly within. Oh my Celestia! Who in Equestria would leave a foal on such a cold night? The mare said aloud. The little filly stirred, and turning over onto its back, it opened its eyes, revealing a pair of bright yellow orbs, the appearance of which struck the mare as both odd and intriguing, for they stared back at her cross-eyed. The filly stared at the mare in the doorway for a few seconds, before smiling and giggling lightly, throwing its hooves up at her, as if asking to be picked up. The mare, warmed by such a cute little act, ignited her magic to levitate the little foal out of the basket and onto her back, making sure to drape the blanket over the filly as well. You poor dear! Come along with me. Let's get you inside and warm, shall we? The mare asked the filly, who responded with an adorable laugh. The mare smiled, before noticing the scroll of paper. Unfolding the paper with her hooves, the mare read the message written upon the parchment. Her name is Derpy. Please take care of her. May Celestia forgive me. The mare looked back at the filly, who smiled back at her. Taking another look at the message, the mare rolled it up and turned around to go back inside. Come along, little one, the mare said, with a warm smile. I'll take care of you, dear. As the doors were closed again, the rainfall began to clear away, reduced to only a few drops here and there, before stopping completely. High above, Luna's moon shone brightly, seemingly casting all of its light down onto the orphanage and the little special child who had been taken in this night. Hey, this is Crystal Feather. Thanks for watching.